Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be changing the oil in my 2012 Toyota Sienna. It's got the V6 engine. I'm going to show you how to do it from start to finish. Super simple process. So to start off, you're going to want to either jack up the front end and put it on jack stands, or what I use here are these ramps. You just drive up on them and it gets it about a foot off the ground. But on the Sienna, there's not really enough room underneath without jacking it up or having it on ramps to be able to get underneath and change it. So definitely worth the money to invest in some of these. I always have a spotter. Earlier I had my wife out here standing kind of off to the side and watching, make sure I didn't go too far over the ramp and make sure I'm going up straight. So it can be very easy to accidentally drive off the side of the ramp or go too far and drive over top of it, and either one can cause damage to the car. So make sure you have a spotter and always be safe when you're driving up on the ramps. And you always want to put it in park and have the emergency brake engaged. First we're going to remove the drain plug. It's right here on the back of the oil pan. It's going to be a 14mm head. You just break it loose with a wrench, and then it should come out by hand. You want to make sure you have your oil pan ready. It will shoot out very quick. And this will take a couple minutes to drain. So while that oil is draining out, you want to make sure you clean up your drain plug. Just using a shop towel here. Making sure we get all that oil off. And inspect your washer. You should have a little washer here. Make sure that's in good shape. If it's damaged, then you'll want to get a replacement one for that. But they're usually in good shape. Can be reused. So now that we have that clean and the oil has stopped draining, we're just going to stick the drain plug back in. Just tighten it all by hand. Then I always wipe the oil off around the plug here, just to get everything off of that oil pan. We just did some off-roading the other day, so everything's covered in mud. But yeah, get it hand tight, and you're gonna put your wrench back on. You don't want to make it super tight, but you want it to be snug. To change this, you're going to need one of these sockets here. It's got little teeth that hook onto the oil filter. And this is just an oil filter housing. It's going to have a little filter inside of that, but we got to open it up to change it. So just match up the teeth with the teeth on the filter there. And for this, you're going to use a 1/2-inch drive socket. I'm just going to untwist it here. Once it's loose enough to do it by hand, I'll take the wrench off. And we're just going to unscrew it. And be careful, make sure you have an oil pan underneath to catch the oil. It will have some oil drain out still. So there's our oil filter cartridge inside of this housing. So we're just going to take that cartridge out. So this is what we're left with. And then we're also going to replace this O-ring. The new filter should come with one. And that just goes on right here. So we're going to take the old one off. Usually you can do it with your hands. Sometimes you got to use like a screwdriver to wedge under it. But it should come off pretty easy. There we go, got the old one. There we go, put the new one on. You're going to want to make sure you rub oil all around the O-ring. If you don't, it will not come off. It'll be extremely hard to get it off next time. So once you have that O-ring on, we're going to take our new filter cartridge and just slide it right on there. Now we can screw it back up. Now you're going to want to make sure you really clean that off, all the oil off. And for this part, you're only going to do it hand tight. You're not going to use the wrench. But you're going to get it as tight as you can by hand. Now we got that back on. We'll go back up top and we're going to fill it back up with oil. So now we're up top in the engine bay here. We're going to go ahead and remove the oil cap. It's right here on the It's right here on the left side of the engine. So this year and model call for 6.4 quarts of 020 oil you're looking at there. I use full synthetic. I always start with 6 quarts, so I'll put 6 quarts in now and then I'll run it for a minute and then I'll check the oil level and add a little bit more if I need to. A lot of times it's good at the 6 quarts because you're not getting every drip out of the engine when you're changing it, so there's still some stuck in there. So I start with 6 and then I'll add more if I need to, but I'm usually good at the 6 quarts. I usually check in and it's usually spot on at that point. I recommend either having a funnel, especially for the first one, get a funnel, and then what I do is I take an old jug and I cut the bottom off and then I use it as a funnel. So these will actually screw right on, just like the cap. So it'll screw on there, and that'll be secure. Kind of squeeze it to open it up. Then we got a funnel that's screwed on tight to the engine there. And now we'll just add our 6 quarts. Now we have the oil in. We're gonna go ahead and put the cap back on. We're gonna go ahead and start it up. We're gonna back it down off of the ramps. So now we have it down off of the ramps. We're gonna pull the dipstick here. Make sure you clean it off good with a shop rag first. And we're gonna put it back in. So now we'll go ahead and pull our dipstick. So you want the oil level to be kind of towards the top, in between these 2 dots, right towards the top of it. So we're spot on. So we're good to go there. If it was down at the bottom dot, then you want to add maybe half a quart to start, and then go ahead and start the engine again for a minute, and then check it again. Just make sure it's good before you start driving it. I hope this video helped you learn something today. If it did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more DIYs. And we'll catch you in the next video. Keep on doing it yourself.